My career as a street artist has put me face to face with a disturbing creature. Graffiti is a crime that doesn't pay, but it is thrilling. Throwing up a tag in an open place is a great feeling that puts your heart in your throat. The artist and the criminal are in a battle for mental bandwidth, and that balancing act isn't for everyone. In fact, it's for no one. Graffiti is my stupid addiction, an exciting, sometimes noble, and always interesting addiction. And sometimes it's dangerous. I've had run-ins with gangs, I've fled from police, and neither ran as fast as Tinderlips. There's an alleyway with very few routes in about 30 minutes from my house. The long way that you have to walk to get there and the large concrete and brick walls make it a great place for large street art. Pair that with the anger that it puts in the gentrifiers that own the place and my desire to rebel, and it's a space I've hit up frequently. It gets painted over with solid colors often though. Right after a fresh coat went up, I thought I'd go put up a new tag, one I'd been working on for a while. And I show up ready to put the tag up only to find a monolithic new tag, about 20 feet tall and about 100 feet wide, on the back of a corporate building. It was truly impressive, not just in size, but in technique. All these grayish flesh tones and bold blacks, letters very legible yet organic and fluid like monster designs out of an experimental comic from the 90s. The colors pushing off the fresh coat of fire engine red paint on the back of this corporate rental office space, it seared into my mind. The name tag itself was long, something I had never seen, and mildly disturbing. Tender Lips. Maybe not disturbing by itself, it could be romantic, but the letter shapes painted an alarming mindscape. Perhaps Tinderlips was a team of artists. The wall piece certainly required a ladder to throw up. Normally I just plant my art close by, but I wanted to respect that piece, so I photographed it for posterity and put my much smaller tag a respectable distance away, but still on the same building. As I did so, I felt uneasy. There's always this shifting focus between art mode and situational awareness. Art, what's around me? Art, what's around me? But this wasn't that. Just something told me I was being watched, not like the popo or a snitch, like an art teacher looking over your shoulder, not critiquing, just observing. My tag ended up okay, but I wanted to try a similar concept again. I didn't execute as well as I had planned. Something about that name, Tinderlips, just burrowed into my mind so deeply. Walking by the Tinderlips piece again before leaving, I noticed the smell of paint. I did a typical bro sniff of my shirt and hands to see if it was me. I was just in a cloud of spray paint, but I caught a whiff walking by the lips tag again. Like, I knew the tag was fresh, but closely inspecting it again, I realized it was extremely fresh. Dry, but posted maybe within that evening. I decided to hit up another spot within walking distance. There was a grocery store that kicked me out when I was in college because they thought I was going to shoplift with zero reason to think that, so hey, they deserve a little vandalism. So I went to an area without any cameras and started to unpack my supplies when I heard a loud, wheezing sound from the shadows. I zipped up my bag and quickly snapped my head around to see what was making the noise. Emerging from the dark park area nearby was a human-like creature, easily 15 feet tall. Its black eyes must have been the size of my hands, its crinkled up skinny fingers, 3 on each hand, was alarming to look at. Its skin wasn't far off from the sickly beige of the Tenderlips wall piece I had passed earlier. Its clownish gray lips looked dry and twisted above its fleshy, haggard neck. This was all I took in for a brief moment before it started to come closer. I booked it around the corner and into the grocery store's parking lot, into the lights and then down the street. I was frantically looking for any place to go into, but all the bars and businesses were closed until I finally made it to a White Castle that was open 24/7. They looked at me like I was running from a robber, or I was a robber running from the scene of a crime. My car wasn't far from there, and I safely got there and got home. After the fact, I do wonder if the creature was some sort of hallucination brought on by the Tenderlips tag, like that phrase or the way the letters were shaped was some sort of data that corrupts your mind. Or maybe the tall guy was Tenderlips, and maybe somebody made the tag for him. Or maybe, just maybe, he was the street artist himself. He was tall enough, but what I do know for sure is that the tag is still up, as is mine, and a few others that have been put up since. Artist friends I know have posted wall pieces on Twitter as recently as last week. Maybe the people know better than to take down that art. Maybe the only time I'm not confident in my wall piece on that building is the one time it doesn't get taken down. And maybe that's because of Tenderlips.